She told me, "We're expecting a baby, will you step up?" I answered, "I have a new girlfriend." Lieutenant Adrian Vale sat in his station, eyes fixed on the holographic displays hovering before him. Charts of distant planets, atmospheric data, and energy readings danced in blue light across his console. To anyone else, the view would have seemed cold and lifeless. But Adrian loved it. Space was the only place where his mind could breathe, free from the noise of human society and the heavy expectations of the past. He tapped the console lightly, adjusting the sensors for a routine scan of the nearby exoplanet cluster. Terraforming missions were never simple, and the AI assistants helped, but nothing replaced human intuition. Adrian had always believed humans were unique, creative, bold, and adaptable in ways no AI or alien species could ever match. It was a belief that had carried him through years in space, far from friends, family, and home. Then the transmission arrived. At first, he thought it was a routine message from Mission Control or one of the other colonies. But when the signal decrypted, Adrian's stomach twisted into an uneasy knot. The sender was Alara Wynn. His chest tightened at the sight of her name. He hadn't heard from her in years. Not since, well, since everything had ended. The message was short, a single video transmission. Alara's face appeared on the screen, illuminated by the soft glow of her laboratory's instruments. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, her expression serious but strangely tender. "Adrian," she said, her voice calm but carrying the weight of something heavy. "We're expecting a baby. Will you step up?" The words struck him like a meteor through the hull. His mind raced, trying to understand what he had just heard. A baby, his baby. Before he could react, another thought hit him like a second wave. "I have a new girlfriend. Lyra." Her bright smile, quick laugh, and adventurous spirit had brought color back into his life after years of routine, solitude, and regret. He had been happy again, or at least, as happy as one could be drifting between stars. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing heart. "Alara," he began aloud, but she was already watching him from the holographic display, waiting for a response that wasn't ready to come. I have a new girlfriend," he said finally, each word weighed with guilt and honesty. Alara's eyes didn't flicker with anger. Instead, they softened, and a shadow of sadness crossed her features. "I see," she said quietly. There was a pause, almost too long for comfort. "I didn't mean to drag you back into this, not like this." Adrian ran a hand through his hair. He felt trapped between past and present, between responsibility and the life he was trying to build. He had loved Alara once deeply, but the past had ended for a reason. Now, standing on the edge of something that might change everything, he wasn't sure what to do. The transmission continued, revealing details that made his pulse race. The baby wasn't just any child, it carried traces of an unusual genetic marker. In Alara's scientific voice, she explained that the child's genes had reacted to exposure from the alien flora on the planet she studied. The child could inherit traits that were rare even among humans: enhanced cognitive abilities, remarkable adaptability, and a potential link to the alien ecosystem that could make the child crucial for the future of human expansion into space. Adrian swallowed hard. This wasn't just a personal situation anymore. It had become something far larger. The child could be special, a new chapter for humanity in more ways than one. He sank back in his chair, rubbing his face with both hands. Memories of Alara flooded back. The long nights in the lab, the quiet moments under the stars, the laughter and arguments that had ended with a painful goodbye. And then there was Lyra, waiting for him in the next sector, her messages filled with light-hearted jokes and updates about their latest mission. She didn't know yet. The ship's AI lyric chimed softly, almost as if sensing his turmoil. "Lieutenant, I detect elevated heart rate and irregular breathing patterns. Do you require assistance?" Adrian chuckled bitterly. "No, lyric, just processing." He leaned back in his chair and stared at the black window of space. Stars flickered in the distance, small points of light in a vast darkness. Somewhere out there the future was waiting, and he had a choice to make. After hours of internal debate, Adrian decided he needed to see Alara. The professional part of him insisted that this wasn't just about feelings. This was about responsibility, about the potential significance of the child. He couldn't hide in the comforts of space forever. Humans, he reminded himself, had always faced impossible odds. They had always adapted, survived, and thrived where no other species could. This was just another challenge. He initiated a jump to the planet's coordinates. The astronomad shuddered lightly as it moved through hyperspace, stars stretching into lines of light. He tried to focus on the mission, but his mind kept replaying the moment of the transmission. Alara's expression, calm yet pleading, haunted him. Hours later, the planet came into view, a swirl of green and blue amidst the black void. Adrian stared at it, imagining the colony, the labs, the people working to unlock the secrets of the alien flora. And somewhere in that colony, Alara waited, carrying the child that could change everything. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, he felt a mix of anxiety and determination. He didn't know what he would say when he saw her, or how she would react to the news about Lyra. But he knew one thing: humans had a way of stepping up when it mattered most. Touchdown was smooth. The colony's exterior was sleek and futuristic, with dome structures glowing faintly in the late afternoon sun. Scientists moved through the courtyards, drones buzzed overhead, and the faint hum of machinery filled the air. Adrian's boots clicked against the metal floor as he entered the main lab. Alara was there, as if waiting for him. Her expression softened the moment she saw him, but her eyes betrayed worry. "You came," she said simply. Adrian nodded, words failing him for a moment. I had to," he admitted. "We need to talk." They moved to a quieter corner of the lab, away from prying eyes. Alara gestured toward a set of readings on a holographic screen, showing the child's developing biosignatures. "It's not just any child," she said softly. "This one could help humanity understand and survive things we haven't even imagined yet." Adrian's mind raced. He wanted to focus on the science, to approach it logically, but his heart kept returning to the personal. To the choices he had made, the life he was building with Lyra, and the responsibility he couldn't ignore. "I don't know if I can do this," he said quietly. "I have someone else now, someone I care about." Alara nodded as if she had expected this. "I know," she said. "But the child, the future, maybe you can help in ways we can't predict. Humans have a way of making the impossible work. You've always been good at that, Adrian." Her words were both comforting and terrifying. He had always believed in human resilience. Now, for the first time, he was being asked to apply it not just for survival, but for family, love, and the future of humanity. As he looked at her, Adrian realized that stepping up didn't mean giving up the life he had now. It meant finding a way to face the past, protect the future, and balance the human heart's unpredictable course with the extraordinary possibilities of life among the stars. The hum of the lab, the soft glow of the screens, and the distant alien wind outside seemed to echo one truth: humans endure, humans adapt, humans rise to the challenges no one else can face. And now Adrian would have to do just that, for Alara, for the child, for the future. The laboratory smelled faintly of ozone and earth, an odd mix of alien flora and human technology. Adrian walked slowly along the polished floor, trying to absorb the strange calm of the colony. His boots clicked softly, a rhythm that echoed in the high-ceilinged hallways. Scientists bustled about, some carrying samples of the alien plants they studied, others adjusting monitors tracking atmospheric stability. But Adrian barely noticed them. All he could see was Alara standing at the center of it all, her figure tall and graceful, her face calm but tense. "You didn't have to come," Alara said, though her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "I had to," Adrian replied, trying to keep his tone steady. "I can't just ignore this, not now." Alara nodded and motioned toward a quieter part of the lab. As they walked, Adrian's mind spun with questions. How could this happen? How did I miss it? And how do I even begin to handle this? He hadn't planned for his past to catch up with him like this, and yet here he was, staring into the eyes of a woman who had once meant everything to him. They reached a small observation room. Through a thick glass wall, Adrian could see rows of biomes, carefully controlled environments housing plants and small alien creatures. The colony wasn't just a research station. It was a living experiment, a glimpse of what humanity could achieve when it combined intelligence, courage, and care. Alara turned to him. "The child, it's developing faster than we expected." She gestured to a holographic projection above the table, displaying genetic patterns in soft, glowing lines. "These markers, they aren't just unusual. They're rare, even for humans. The child might have abilities we don't fully understand yet." Adrian leaned in, studying the projection. He felt a strange mixture of awe and fear. "Abilities?" he asked cautiously. "Yes," Alara said. "The alien environment affected the genetic growth. The child could have enhanced adaptability, better cognitive skills, maybe even a unique way of sensing the world. It's impossible to predict exactly how, but it's clear the child is extraordinary." Adrian swallowed hard. His hands tightened into fists. This wasn't just about him or his feelings anymore. This child could change the future of human exploration, of survival. And yet, he was still human. He was scared, uncertain, and deeply conflicted. Alara studied him carefully. "I didn't contact you to force you into anything," she said softly. "I wanted you to know. You have a choice, Adrian, but the choice matters for the child, for all of us." He looked down at the floor, struggling to find the right words. I have someone else now," he admitted again. "Lyra, she's in another sector. She's part of my life." Alara's expression softened. "I know," she said. "And that's why this isn't about us. It's about the child. You can't ignore it, but you also don't have to hurt yourself in the process." Adrian nodded, though he didn't feel reassured. It wasn't just about feelings. It was about responsibility, morality, and the future. He had always believed humans had something special: creativity, courage, intuition. And now he would have to use all of it in a situation that was entirely personal and entirely unprecedented. "Show me more," he said finally. "I need to understand what we're dealing with." Alara led him through the lab, explaining the studies they had conducted so far. Alien flora in the nearby valleys had secreted compounds that, when absorbed by human DNA, caused subtle changes in brain and body development. The colony's research suggested that these changes could be beneficial, but no one knew for sure. The child could be a bridge between humans and the alien environment, a living proof of human adaptability. As they moved, Adrian felt the weight of history pressing down on him. Memories of their time together, long nights working in the lab, shared meals under the stars, laughter, arguments, moments of tender silence, flooded back. He realized how much he had missed her, not just as a partner but as a person who had challenged him, inspired him, and made him better. "Adrian," Alara said, sensing his thoughts, "I don't expect you to feel anything but responsibility right now. That's enough. You don't have to decide, not yet." But Adrian felt the pull of both past and present. Lyra's messages, her cheerful voice, her bold spirit, they all reminded him of the life he had built after their separation. Could he balance both worlds? Could he protect this child while still being true to his current life? Before he could answer, the lab alarms beeped softly. A security notification blinked on a console nearby. "Unknown biosignatures detected near the northern perimeter," Alara said. "We've seen this before. Something in the alien environment is moving closer to the colony. We thought it was harmless, but now—" Adrian's heart skipped a beat. His mind immediately shifted from personal conflict to protective instinct. Humans were unique, yes, but vulnerability could be deadly. "Show me," he said. They moved to a monitoring station where several holographic screens displayed the northern biome. Shadows shifted among the alien flora, tall, strange silhouettes moving with deliberate purpose. The life forms weren't hostile, at least not yet, but they were intelligent, studying the colony's structures as though deciding what to do next. Alara's eyes were wide with concern. "We've seen them observe us before, but this is different. They might be drawn to the child." Adrian's mind raced. He understood human ingenuity, creativity, and problem-solving better than anyone. If these aliens underestimated humans, he could use that to protect the colony. "We'll need barriers, observation drones, and maybe diversions," he said. Alara nodded. "You're right, and we'll need human oversight. The AI can help, but this is a situation that requires judgment and adaptability, something only humans have." Adrian felt a spark of pride, mixed with dread. Humans were resilient, yes, but the stakes had never been this high. Not just for the colony, not just for the child, but for the future of human exploration. As he worked alongside Alara, planning defenses and strategizing, he felt a strange bond forming again. Not a romantic bond, at least not yet, but a shared understanding that humans were capable of incredible things when they acted together. Even if fear gripped him, even if the past lingered, he felt alive. Hours passed, the sun outside beginning to fade behind the alien mountains. Adrian took a moment to step onto the observation balcony, looking out at the strange, glowing plants that swayed gently in the wind. The alien world was beautiful, alive, and unpredictable. It reminded him of humanity itself, fragile, yet remarkably strong. Alara joined him quietly, not speaking at first. They watched the bioluminescent flora shimmer in the growing darkness. "You're scared," she said finally, breaking the silence. Adrian nodded. "I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm ready to be responsible for everything." "You're already human," Alara said softly. "Humans are special because they face what they cannot predict, because they adapt, because they care even when it's hard. That's why the child has a chance, and why we might survive whatever comes next." Her words struck a chord. He realized that stepping up wasn't about abandoning the life he had or forgetting Lyra. It was about using the courage, intelligence, and empathy that made humans extraordinary. It was about facing impossible odds and finding a way to survive and thrive. The night deepened, and the colony lights glowed faintly beneath them. Somewhere in the shadows, the alien life forms observed, curious and deliberate. Adrian understood now. The coming days would test every skill, every instinct, every choice he had made. And humans, clever, bold, and unpredictable, were the only species capable of rising to that challenge. He took a deep breath and turned to Alara. "I'll do what I can," he said, "for the child, for the colony, for whatever comes next." Alara's face softened into a small smile. "That's all I ask, Adrian. That's all any of us can do." And in that quiet moment, as the alien night settled over the colony and the stars shone like distant fires, Adrian understood the first truth of the universe. Humans endure. Humans adapt. Humans rise. And he was ready to step into the role that destiny had handed him. No matter how uncertain, no matter how dangerous, no matter how much it hurt. The alien shapes lingered at the edge of the colony, shadows among the glowing flora. Adrian leaned over the control console, analyzing the movement patterns. The creatures were intelligent, cautious, and curious. They didn't attack, but their presence was a warning. Something about them suggested a silent test, observing, learning, and perhaps judging. Alara stood beside him, her eyes fixed on the holographic display. "They're studying us," she said. "I don't think they know what the child is yet, but they sense something unusual." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Then we need to make sure they don't get too close." "Not for them, for us." He tapped commands into the console, activating perimeter sensors and drone patrols. Small, hovering drones with soft thrusters began their rounds, weaving between the glowing plants. Each drone carried cameras, light scanners, and energy signals designed to keep the aliens at a safe distance without provoking them. The first hours passed with tense quiet. Adrian and Alara monitored the creatures' behavior. They were clever, more clever than most terrestrial predators, but they were limited in one important way. They relied on patterns and logic. Humans, on the other hand, were unpredictable, creative, and willing to act without knowing the outcome. Adrian realized that this was their advantage. "They're testing us," he said finally. "They want to see how we react, how we adapt. That's our edge." Alara nodded. "And the child, that edge might come from them too. Humans are unique because of how we evolve with circumstances. The child could inherit that instinct." Adrian took a deep breath. The responsibility weighed on him, but a spark of determination flared inside. Humans had always thrived in impossible situations. This was another chance to prove it. As night fell over the alien valley, the colony lights glowed like tiny stars. Adrian and Alara walked along the observation deck, checking sensors manually. Somewhere out there, the alien creatures moved with a silent intelligence, testing every weak point in the colony's defenses. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the screen. One of the drones had been intercepted. Its energy signal was disrupted, and the camera feed flickered. Adrian's heart raced. "They're testing the drones now," he said. "They're learning our limits." Alara's voice was calm but tense. "We need to do more than defend. We need to outsmart them." Adrian nodded. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the alien flora sway, almost as if reacting to the approaching creatures. A thought struck him. Humans could not only defend but also innovate. The AI could monitor patterns, but humans could improvise. That would be their strength. He turned back to the control panel and began formulating a plan. The drones could act as distractions, but they would also need to create signals that simulated human activity in unexpected ways. Small energy pulses, random drone movements, and visual decoys, all designed to confuse the aliens without provoking aggression. Alara watched as he worked. "You're thinking like a human," she said, a small smile breaking through her worry. "You're unpredictable, creative, exactly what we need." Adrian allowed himself a brief smile. "Humans have always survived by thinking outside the box," he said. "We adapt when others cannot. That's how we're still here." The next hours were tense. The alien creatures advanced cautiously, testing every defense. Drones zipped through the glowing flora, projecting light patterns and energy pulses. Adrian and Alara coordinated the colony's systems, improvising as the creatures adapted to each new challenge. At one point, a group of the aliens approached the perimeter fence. They didn't attack, but their size and presence caused the sensors to flare warnings. Adrian acted quickly, sending a series of drones to create a false pathway leading them away from the colony's central hub. It worked. The creatures hesitated, following the decoy while leaving the colony untouched. Adrian felt a surge of pride. "That's it," he said. "They underestimate us. They can't predict everything we do." Alara nodded. "And that's why humans endure. We survive because we innovate, because we take risks, because we care." Adrian's thoughts drifted to the child. This small, developing life could inherit the same instincts: curiosity, courage, and adaptability. He felt a strange mix of hope and fear. The child might be humanity's bridge to understanding this planet, or a warning that even humans had limits. Hours passed in a blur of strategy and observation. Adrian barely ate, barely slept, focused entirely on the safety of the colony and the developing child. He realized something fundamental. Humans were unique not because of strength or speed, but because of the choices they made in the face of uncertainty. By dawn, the alien creatures had retreated to the edges of the valley. They didn't attack, but their presence remained a constant reminder that the universe was alive, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous. Adrian leaned against the railing, exhausted but exhilarated. Alara joined him, her expression calm but thoughtful. "You did well," she said softly. "The colony is safe for now, and the child is protected." Adrian nodded. "For now," he repeated. He knew this was only the beginning. The alien world had tested them and humans had passed, but the real challenges were still ahead. They walked back into the lab, where the hum of machinery and soft glow of monitors filled the space. Adrian felt a strange sense of clarity. The past, the conflicts, the doubts, they all mattered, but only in how he chose to act. Humans endured because they faced what they could not predict, because they adapted, and because they never gave up. Alara smiled faintly. "You're ready for the next step," she said. "Not just for the colony, but for everything that comes after. Humans have always risen to challenges, and now you're part of that legacy." Adrian's chest swelled with a mixture of pride and fear. Humans were special, yes, but they were also vulnerable. That vulnerability was what made them capable of extraordinary things. And now he understood that protecting this child, this future, was the greatest challenge he had ever faced. As the day progressed, Adrian began working on more permanent defenses. Perimeter shields, energy barriers, and automated drones formed a network designed to protect both the colony and the child. Yet, he didn't rely solely on technology. He coordinated with the scientists, training them in contingency strategies, improvisation, and observation techniques. Humans could improvise. AI could only follow programmed logic. That was their advantage, and Adrian planned to use it fully. Lyra's messages appeared intermittently on his comms. She didn't know the full details yet, but her cheerful encouragement reminded him that human connection was as vital as strategy. Even amidst danger, humans could inspire one another, provide comfort, and give strength. He responded briefly, careful not to alarm her, but her presence, even virtually, gave him courage. Later, while reviewing genetic data on the child, Adrian realized something incredible. The unique markers suggested not only intelligence, but a heightened ability to sense environmental changes, almost like a human-alien hybrid intuition. The child could be the first of a new generation, capable of understanding alien worlds in ways adults could not. He shared the data with Alara. She studied it, her eyes widening. This could change everything," she whispered. "Not just for humans, but for our relationship with this planet and possibly others." Adrian nodded. "We need to make sure the child survives," he said firmly. "Whatever it takes, we can't let fear or uncertainty stop us. Humans endure, humans adapt, and humans rise." Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. "And now so do we," she said. Together, they returned to the observation deck, watching the alien world glow beneath them. The creatures had retreated for now, but Adrian knew this was only a temporary reprieve. Somewhere out there, intelligence awaited. And somewhere out there, the child, human, yet possibly more, was beginning a journey that would challenge the galaxy. Adrian understood the truth of it now. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, guardians, and pioneers. And he would do everything in his power to ensure that this next generation, his next generation, had the chance to rise as humans always had. The night settled over the colony, quiet but alive. Adrian felt a strange sense of peace, mingled with anticipation. The test had begun. Humans had passed the first challenge, but the universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of trials yet to come. And he would be ready. The colony hummed with activity, but the tension was thick in the air. Adrian stood at the observation deck, staring at the alien landscape. The creatures had returned, larger in number this time, moving with intelligence and precision that sent a shiver down his spine. Unlike before, they weren't merely testing. They were probing for weaknesses, testing the limits of human defenses. Alara approached him, her expression calm but edged with worry. "They're advancing faster than yesterday," she said. "It's not just curiosity anymore. They may be preparing for something." Adrian clenched his fists. "Then we have to be ready. We've survived before." "Humans adapt, humans rise. That's what we do." Alara nodded, but her eyes showed doubt. Adrian understood her hesitation. Humans were resilient, yes, but there were limits. Yet he also knew that the human spirit was stronger than fear. It was time to prove it. In the control room, Adrian and Alara coordinated the colony's defenses. The drones hovered in precise formations, projecting holographic signals and energy pulses designed to confuse the alien creatures. Automated turrets hummed softly, ready to defend if necessary, while the perimeter shields glimmered under the dim light. But Adrian knew that this time, strategy alone wouldn't be enough. The aliens were learning. Their movements were coordinated, their tactics evolving. The colony needed improvisation, unpredictability, something only humans could provide. "We need to split them," Adrian said, pointing at the holographic map. "Half will be drawn toward the northern decoy field. The other half will guide them into the canyon where the terrain works in our favor." Alara frowned. "It's risky if they realize the trap." "Humans don't wait for perfection," Adrian replied firmly. "We act, we adapt, that's our advantage." The plan was set. Drones flew toward the northern perimeter, projecting light signals and energy pulses. The alien creatures followed, curious and cautious. Meanwhile, Adrian and a small team, including Alara, led the rest of the aliens into the canyon. The narrow walls and uneven terrain would slow their movements and give the colony time to reinforce its defenses. Adrian's heart pounded as they executed the plan. Every step required timing, precision, and courage. The creatures moved faster than expected, forcing them to improvise mid-action. Humans, Adrian thought, were extraordinary not because they were perfect, but because they could adapt when nothing went according to plan. The first wave reached the canyon. Adrian activated additional drones and deployed energy barriers, guiding the creatures deeper into the trap. Their movements were clever, almost deliberate, but human ingenuity was proving superior. Suddenly, a large alien surged toward the central hub of the colony, bypassing the canyon. Adrian's stomach tightened. If it reached the labs, the child's safety and the survival of the colony would be in jeopardy. Without hesitation, Adrian sprinted toward the threat, using the hover carts and portable energy shields to intercept the alien. Alara followed closely, providing guidance from the observation deck via comms. "You can't handle it alone," she shouted, her voice tense. "I have to," Adrian replied, determination burning in his chest. "Humans endure." The alien lunged, its movements swift and precise. Adrian dodged, leading it toward a reinforced energy barrier. The creature slammed against it with a deafening thud, but it adapted quickly, trying again. Adrian realized that brute force wouldn't work. He needed to outthink it. He glanced around, spotting a weak point in the terrain, a narrow corridor that would funnel the alien into a containment area. Using a combination of drones and energy pulses, he guided the creature into the trap. The barrier closed behind it, locking the alien safely inside. Adrian's chest heaved. He had done it, but the fight was far from over. Meanwhile, the rest of the alien creatures were still navigating the canyon trap. Some had realized the deception, moving cautiously, testing human defenses. Adrian coordinated with the drone operators, sending signals and creating decoys to keep the creatures distracted. Every move required split-second timing, human intuition, and a deep understanding of the alien behavior. Alara watched him from the observation deck, admiration mixed with concern. "You're pushing yourself too hard," she said. Adrian shook his head. "This isn't about me. It's about the child, about the colony, about humanity. We rise when the universe tests us." The creatures struggled against the canyon trap, but human ingenuity kept them contained. Adrian and Alara's combined efforts, along with the drone network, ensured the colony remained safe, for now. Hours passed in tense coordination. Adrian barely rested, his focus entirely on protecting the colony and the child. The night outside was alive with alien shadows, but inside the lab, humans worked together, adapting and innovating in ways no AI or alien intelligence could predict. During a brief pause, Adrian reviewed the child's genetic data again. The unique markers were becoming clearer: heightened intelligence, adaptive instincts, and a subtle connection to the alien environment. The child could be humanity's key to understanding and thriving in alien worlds. Adrian felt a surge of hope, mingled with fear. The responsibility was enormous, but humans had always risen to such challenges. Alara approached him quietly. "You're exhausted," she said softly. "You need rest." Adrian shook his head. "I can't, not yet, there's too much at stake." She studied him, then nodded. "Humans endure, yes, but even humans need support." He allowed himself a brief smile. Support and courage, that's what humans have always had. The next challenge came unexpectedly. A group of the aliens began to coordinate in a way Adrian hadn't anticipated, attempting to bypass the canyon trap entirely. They were cleverer than before, testing human limits. Adrian realized this was a real battle, not just a test. He rallied the colony staff. "We adapt, we improvise, follow the plan, but be ready to change it on the fly. Humans endure because we do what others cannot." The humans acted with precision and courage, setting up new energy barriers, redirecting drones, and improvising decoy systems. The aliens hesitated, confused by the sudden changes. Adrian felt a surge of pride. Human adaptability was proving stronger than alien intelligence, at least for now. In a final, decisive move, Adrian led a small team to the canyon's exit, using a combination of drones and environmental manipulation to herd the aliens back toward the containment zone. The creatures resisted, but human creativity and courage prevailed. By dawn, the colony was safe. The aliens retreated to the edges of the valley, their curiosity satisfied for the moment, their intelligence challenged by human ingenuity. Adrian collapsed into a chair, exhausted but triumphant. Alara joined him, relief written across her face. "We did it," she said softly. "The colony is safe." Adrian nodded, his chest heaving. "Humans endure, humans adapt, humans rise." They shared a quiet moment, watching the alien sun rise over the glowing landscape. Somewhere out there, the child was safe, carrying the potential to change humanity's future. Adrian realized that human courage and creativity were not just tools for survival, they were the essence of what made them special. As the colony began repairs and recovery, Adrian took a moment to contact Lyra. He explained the situation briefly, careful not to alarm her, and felt a wave of connection. Human bonds, he realized, were as vital as any technology. They gave strength, inspiration, and courage in moments of uncertainty. Later, as he reviewed the colony's defenses, Adrian felt a sense of purpose unlike anything before. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and now, with the child, they had a chance to rise even higher. Alara approached him one last time before nightfall. "You've proven yourself," she said, "not just as a protector but as a human. Courage, creativity, adaptability, you have all of it." Adrian smiled faintly. "We all do, Alara. We just have to remember it when the universe tests us." The night settled over the colony, quiet but alive with possibility. Adrian knew the journey was far from over. The aliens might return, new challenges would arise, and the child's future was still uncertain. But for the first time, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Humans endure, humans adapt, humans rise. And now, Adrian was ready to guide the next generation toward that truth, no matter the cost. The colony was quiet in the early morning, the glow of the alien flora soft and serene. The battles and chaos of the past days felt like a distant memory, though Adrian knew better than to underestimate the universe. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and they would face challenges again. But today was about something different: hope, life, and the future. Adrian stood in the medical wing, watching as the first signs of new life prepared to enter the world. Alara was resting, calm despite the tension and exhaustion of pregnancy. Her hand rested on her stomach, where the child that had inspired so much human effort and courage grew quietly. The genetic markers, unique and extraordinary, had stabilized, promising a new generation capable of adapting to a world unlike any humans had ever known. Lyra's message appeared on Adrian's comm. Her cheerful voice brought a smile to his face. "How's everything? Did you survive the alien apocalypse?" she teased. Adrian laughed softly. "We survived, safe for now," he replied. "You'd be proud." Lyra's voice softened. "I'm proud of you, and whatever happens, I'm here." He felt warmth spread through him. Humans endured not just because of courage and intelligence, but because of connection, loyalty, and love. Lyra's presence, even from a distance, reminded him that bonds mattered as much as bravery. Hours later, the time came. Adrian stayed by Alara's side as the medical team prepared for delivery. The room was quiet, filled with soft humming from the monitors and gentle reassurances from the staff. The alien world outside glowed faintly, casting pale light through the dome windows. Alara's eyes met Adrian's. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice calm but serious. Adrian nodded, though his heart raced. "As ready as anyone can be," he said. "We're in this together." The labor was long but steady. Adrian held Alara's hand, whispering encouragements, reminding her that humans endure, humans adapt, and humans rise. He marveled at the strength of her body, at the determination in her eyes. Human resilience was extraordinary, and he felt honored to witness it firsthand. Finally, a cry echoed through the room, a sharp, clear sound that carried the promise of life. Adrian's heart leapt. The child was here, healthy, strong, human, yet somehow extraordinary already. The medical team placed the baby in Alara's arms. The child opened its eyes, alert and curious, as if already studying the world. Adrian leaned closer, marveling at the tiny hands, the delicate features, and the potential that this life represented. "This is incredible," he whispered. Alara smiled, tears glistening. "It's more than I ever imagined," she said softly. "We have a chance, a real chance." Adrian nodded, feeling a mix of awe, fear, and determination. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous, but humans had faced worse. They had survived impossible odds and risen above them. This child, this new life, represented the best of humanity: adaptability, courage, curiosity, and hope. Over the following days, Adrian and Alara focused on caring for the child while maintaining the colony's defenses. The alien life forms had returned to the edges of the valley, observing but not interfering. It was clear that the child's unique biosignatures had created a connection, subtle yet undeniable, with the environment. Adrian spent hours watching, studying, and learning from the child. Even in these first moments, he could see sparks of intelligence and curiosity beyond the normal human range. The potential was staggering. This was not just a child. It was a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity, proof that humans could adapt to alien worlds and thrive. Lyra arrived at the colony shortly after the birth, her arrival bringing a new layer of warmth and connection. She approached cautiously, smiling at Adrian and then at the child. "You did it," she said softly, eyes shining. "All of you." Adrian smiled, relief and joy filling him. "We did it together," he replied. "Humans endure, humans adapt, humans rise." Lyra nodded, understanding. This was more than survival. It was the essence of what made humans special. Courage, creativity, and love combined to create a future where life could flourish, even in the most unexpected and dangerous places. Days turned into weeks. The colony stabilized, repairs completed, and the aliens seemed content to observe from a distance. Adrian, Ilara, and Lyra worked together to ensure the safety of the child, the colony, and the surrounding environment. The child grew, learning and adapting, displaying subtle signs of the unique abilities predicted by Ilara's research. Adrian marveled at every new milestone. When the child reached for the glowing flora outside, Adrian felt a surge of hope. Humans had always found a way to adapt to challenges, to understand and to thrive. This child was living proof of that legacy. Ilara watched Adrian and Lyra interact with the child, a small smile forming. "Humans are extraordinary," she said softly. Adrian nodded, his eyes never leaving the child. "Yes, and this is just the beginning. Humans rise no matter the odds." The three of them stood together, a small but determined family unit. The universe outside was vast and unpredictable, but they had proven that humans could survive, adapt, and flourish. This child would carry that legacy forward, a bridge between human ingenuity and the alien world they now called home. One evening, Adrian walked to the observation deck, the child in his arms. The alien sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in soft, shifting colors. He felt a profound sense of connection to the planet, to humanity, and to the future. The child looked up at him, eyes bright and curious. Adrian smiled. "You're going to change the world," he whispered. "Not just survive, but rise." A soft voice came from behind him. "And you'll guide them," Ilara said. She and Lyra stood together, watching him and the child. Adrian nodded. "We all will. Humans endure. Humans adapt. Humans rise, and this is proof." The night deepened, stars twinkling across the alien sky. Somewhere beyond the colony, the universe waited, vast and unknown. But within the small dome of humanity's courage and ingenuity, life thrived. The child cooed softly in Adrian's arms, the future of human resilience and adaptability already taking shape. This was more than survival, it was a beginning, a new chapter in the story of humanity among the stars. For Adrian, Ilara, and Lyra, it was clear. They had faced fear, uncertainty, and impossible odds, and they had risen. Humans were special not just because they survived, but because they could love, adapt, and create a future where life endured against all odds. And now, that legacy would continue.